Hello students, a very good morning. So yesterday we have discussed about the photoelectric emission, law of photoelectric emission, some of the experimental study done by Leonard and Holbosch, and there according to their experimental study we have given some of the laws that are called law of photoelectric emission. So as that is experimental law, that means all the theory whatever is given for explanation of that should satisfy that 4 or 5 law of law of photoelectric emission. So like we have seen, wave theory is not able to explain any of the law of photoelectric emission. So we can say that wave theory is failed to explain the photoelectric effect phenomena. So later Einstein he used the quantum concept to explain the law of photoelectric emission, and the experimental concept that we have seen up to now, that he has just explained successfully, and he got Nobel Prize for that explanation. Actually this explanation is not that kind of important, but the theory that he has adopted, quantum theory, Planck's concept, that is the most important factor, because a well established nature for the light we had, that is wave nature, but when this phenomena has discovered, after that theory started to be felt, and quantum theory he used to explain it successfully. It means that we have adopted a new nature of light, and that's why he got that prize for that one. So let's discuss what is Einstein photoelectric equation, what is this concept for this one case. So up to now a lot of things we have discussed. Einstein concept is related to that one. According to Einstein, whenever a light incident on any of the metallic surface, suppose this is our metallic surface, and on this metallic surface light incident on this one. So whenever light will incident, it means that number of photons will incident on this metal surface. So suppose any photon that has energy equal to h nu according to Planck concept. So Einstein said that this energy electron, as this energy of photon is transferred to the electron by perfectly elastic collision. In perfectly elastic, you know, if other body is at rest, this body is moving, then after collision this body will become at rest and other one will start to move. Means the whole of the energy of photon will be transferred to the electron. So you can say the energy of photon, this is equal to energy of electron according to first of all Einstein concept. Means all of the energy of photon will be transferred to this, not any fractional energy will be transferred. This is very important concept here, because the quantization of energy we are going to adopt from here. So quantization means as a whole number energy will be transferred, not in the fractional number it will be transferred. So here it means that whole of the energy of photon will be transferred to the electron now. After transmission, this electron utilize this energy in two ways. The first way to utilize this energy is it utilizes it to overcome the electrostatic attraction force of nucleus, that we are calling work function. So first of all it needs energy equal to work function of this one. So you can say the energy of photon that is given to it, this was h nu. This h nu, one of the part is utilized as to overcome the work function, and we also know this work function is equal to h nu 0, where nu 0 is threshold frequency, means the minimum energy that required to remove any electron, that required to eject any electron. So for minimum energy, as energy is dependent on frequency, so frequency we need also, that is minimum frequency that is needed to emit any electron, that is called cutoff frequency or threshold frequency. If you will multiply this one, the energy that is required, that is called work function. So the first part of this energy is utilized to overcome the work function or to provide the energy equal to work function, so that electron can be free from the surface. First, our first priority is this one. Then if the rest of the energy, suppose the energy that is transferred to the any electron, that is greater than its work function. So electron is not utilizing that energy only to overcome work function, but also the rest of the energy, the excess of energy that electron is utilizing to increase its kinetic energy. So the second part of this energy is utilized to increase kinetic energy of electron. So this was the Einstein concept. Whenever any of the photon is incident, electron is receiving that amount of energy of photon h nu, and this h nu is utilized in two ways. First, to overcome the electrostatic attraction of nucleus, that is the energy equal to work function, and second, the rest of the energy, excess of the energy is equal to kinetic energy. So it means that the outermost electron in any nucleus, suppose if we are taking example of sodium, so sodium has 11 number of electrons in this one, and if you will do electron configuration, so it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s1 we have. So here it is this 3s1, this cell is the outer cell for the sodium. So if we have to remove this electron, so we need the less amount of energy, because whenever the orbit is going away from the nucleus, for that orbit electrostatic attraction force decreases continuously due to increase in distance, and due to decrement of the force, energy also decreases here. So we need less amount to free this electron. Only small amount of energy is needed to free this one. After providing a small amount of energy, the rest of the energy, the excess of the energy is transferred to the electron to increase its kinetic energy. So you can say the outermost electron, that we are also calling free electron, valence electron, a lot of names we have given to this. So here this electron will be most energetic electron. This will got the most of the energy because it needs least energy to overcome the barrier, that is actually work function is also known as potential barrier. So you can also say this needed a very less amount of energy to overcome potential barrier of nucleus, and rest of the all energy it is utilizing to increase its kinetic energy. So this is most energetic electron. After this one, if we have to suppose remove an electron from 2p6, so 2p6 as it is full-filled orbit, you know full-filled orbits are most stable orbits, and here the nuclear force that is increased in comparison to this one. So if we have to remove an electron from 2p6, then that time we have to give a lot of energy to overcome that, because obtained it completed already and system is in most stable state. So for just change its stability, we need to provide a lot of energy. So most of the energy of this h nu will be utilized to overcome the potential barrier of nucleus for this one electron, and rest of the energy will be transferred to the electron, means in form of kinetic energy. So you can see whenever you are moving to the core electrons, inside electrons, the barrier potential, that is work function, is increasing, and due to increment in work function, the less amount of energy is transferred to the electron continuously to increase its kinetic energy. So it means that from the metal surface, even from a single atom, number of electrons that are ejecting, that will have different kinds of kinetic energy. They will not have the same kinetic energy. And according to wave concept, if you will see, wave concept was saying whenever light will incident on any metal surface, then light will be distributed over all surface. So according to that concept, all electrons should have same kinetic energy, because they are getting uniform distribution of energy. All electrons are getting same amount of energy, symmetric distribution I am saying. But that is not the experimental observation. We have seen through the experiment, electrons that are emitting, they have different energies, and that is explained successfully by Einstein's concept here. And I think this concept is now clear how they are increasing their kinetic energy. So here we can simply write this h nu, according to Einstein's concept, we can write now h nu, this energy of photon is equal to work function plus kinetic energy. Clear? Some part of energy is utilized to overcome work function, and some part of energy is utilized to increase the kinetic energy. in a more simple way, if you have to write, you can write h nu 0 plus half mv square. So if it is the minimum amount of energy that is needed for any metal, suppose this is the minimum amount of energy for any system, actually I am saying. So for this system, this is minimum energy. For other one electrons, we will need greater energy than this one. So I have written the minimum possible energy that is needed to free one electron from atom. So it means I am talking from the most energetic electron here. So for that most energetic electron, this kinetic energy will be maximum, because this is most energetic. So here the maximum we will have, and this equation will be now in this way. We can also write down it in form of kinetic energy, that is half V max square. This is equal to h. You will take this h nu minus of h nu 0, or in another word you can write h nu minus nu 0. So this is our final equation here. This is maximum kinetic energy is equal to this value. So this is the Einstein's equation. This is famous Einstein equation that explain photoelectric emission successfully. So up to now, I think mathematical explanation is clear. One part of energy of photon is utilized to overcome potential barrier, and other part is utilized to just increase kinetic energy. So this was the simple law of Einstein that he has thought by using quantum concept that is given by the Planck here. So this is, I think, now clear. Here only for one photon I have talked. If number of photons you have, there will be nh nu, and that nh nu will be distributed to different electrons. So simple our theory is here. If one photon is incident on any metal surface, that photon will transfer its complete energy to the electron, or only one electron it will transfer, not to symmetric distribution. Suppose one photon is incident that has h nu energy and 8 number of photons in our metal surface, then it doesn't mean it will transfer to, its energy to 8 electrons. That time fractional energy will be transferred, 1 by 8 h nu will be transferred to each. So that's not the concept. Concept is one electron, one photon. Means one photon will collide with one electron, it will transfer whole of the energy to that electron. That is our concept of photoelectric emission here. Clear? Now let's see next topic here. How can we convert this equation into the form of wavelength? First let's see that one. After that we will see how to explain law of photoelectric emission by using Einstein concept. So if you know that mu is equal to c by lambda, this relationship, well-known relationship you know, and here as we are talking for the light, then it means that we can write here the velocity of light obviously, and if suppose this is one of the equation, if we have minimum frequency that is needed, that is called threshold frequency. So for that threshold frequency we will have some maximum amount of wavelength also, that is called threshold wavelength. So here now you can put in the place of mu and mu 0 these values. So let's write down. Then kinetic energy or half m V max square, this is equal to h c 1 upon lambda minus 1 upon lambda 0. So this is the relationship between wavelength and kinetic energy that is relating to each other. This is called lambda 0 is called threshold wavelength. So threshold wavelength is that maximum wavelength for which we are observing, we are obtaining emission of electrons from the metal surface. So if frequency is minimum, obviously wavelength will be maximum at that point. Now after these discussions, let's now discuss how to explain law of photoelectric emission by using Einstein's concept, because only it is not enough to provide a law. If we have observed something experimentally, it's always needed to explain that experiments by using theoretical concept. Then our theoretical concept is established and we are just taking that as a law, as a theory. So here first law of photoelectric emission is The number of electrons ejected, that is depending on intensity of radiation, not on the frequency of radiation. So here, by using Einstein's concept, you can see number of electrons are not in this equation. So this number of electrons is not simply depending on frequency of incidence, and later also according to Planck concept, intensity of radiation is depending on number of photons that is contained in that energy. So that concept is utilized by Einstein also. So it means that whenever number of photons will increase, means intensity is increased, and that number of photons will fall on the metal surface, and the greater number of photons will fall, greater energy will be transferred to greater number of electrons. If 10 number of photons we have, 10 number of electrons will eject. If 15 number of electrons we have, 15 number of electrons eject. So it means that Einstein concept was that one photon will transfer whole of the energy to one electron. So simple, by the incidence of greater number of photons, greater number of electrons will ejected. So simply he has proved that first law of photoelectric emission is the number of electrons ejected, that is directly proportional to number of photons incident, and it is the quantum concept already. Number of photons is related to intensity, so directly it is proved number of electrons ejected is directly proportional to intensity of radiation. First law is satisfied by Einstein concept. Second law is the kinetic energy attained by any of the electron is directly proportional to frequency of radiation that is incident on it. Now you can see this one from here. You can see the kinetic energy is depending on frequency of radiation. Simple, so no need to prove it by Einstein's even photoelectric equation. It is proved kinetic energy is depending on frequency, not on the intensity here. Second law is also proved now. The third law is the minimum energy required for the electronic emission, that is called threshold frequency, or you can also call the threshold energy, that is also called work function. So here we have seen the work functions concept already in our topic. So here we can see as Einstein's concept, some part of energy is utilized to overcome the potential barrier, and that potential barrier is called work function. And that work function is defined in the terms of threshold frequency. So directly it has defined now. The fourth concept, if you will see, that is the time lagging concept. Means there is no time lag between the incidence of photon and emission of electron. So this as can be proved by simple assumption of the Einstein's concept. The collision between electron and photon is perfectly elastic collision. So in perfectly elastic collision there is no time lag. When photon will collide to the electron, at the same instant it will transfer its energy, and it will just transfer its whole of the energy to electron, and electron will eject or emit at the same instant. So there is no time lag. Few nanoseconds are only taken by in this process, but that is not observable for us. So we are seeing instant you can say current when some of the light is incident on suitable frequency. So all of the photoelectric concept you can see for law of photoelectric emissions are successfully explained by using Einstein's concept of quantum mechanics. So that's why due to his successful explanation, his concept was taken ahead, and a new theory or new nature of the light is established from till this point. That is, or from this point, that is quantum nature of light or particle nature of light. So I think quantum nature or particle nature is clear. Means light is composed of a lot of number of photons, and each photon has energy equal to h nu. So if we have n number of photons, then the total energy that the system will have equal to n h nu, where n can take the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on. 0 you can see if no of the photon are here, then 0 energy. Otherwise the number of photons we will have, number of energies we have. So energy is now quantized. So that's why this is called now quantum mechanics. Clear, I think, students? This is very important concept whenever you are starting to study a new physics, that is called modern physics or quantum physics. So this is the first concept that we have explained by using that one. After that, we have explained a number of concepts when this particular law is established. Now after this one, we have a problem. Before that problem, actually I will say you first of all, let's see what is the characteristic of photon, then I will tell you the problem here. Actually the problem is related to the nature of light, because three types of nature of light we have studied up to now in optics. First was ray optics, where we have taken the nature of light as the ray. Second was wave optics, where we have taken the nature of light as the wave. Third is particle concept or dual nature of radiation, in which the quantum concept we have taken the light as the nature of the particle. So which one is correct now? Which one we should take as the correct nature? So that is a debate for the scientist again. So later its a solution is obtained also, so I will tell you that solution later. But before that one, let's see now the properties of photons. So as we are just going to quantize our light, we are going to put a quantum concept in light, photon concept in light. So what are the properties of photons have? Let's see now one by one. So in the properties of photon, the first point we have, that is each photon has energy equal to h nu. So the energy of photon is equal to h nu. The first one property we have. Second one, you can say whenever we are talking for any radiation or electromagnetic wave, then that time every wave radiation is composed of these number of particles that are called photons here. So I think this is now clear. Next one concept is, or property is, this photon has zero rest mass. So what is the concept of zero rest mass? As earlier in class 11th you have seen, whenever the velocity of any particle is continuously increasing, then mass started to change by the value, that is m is equal to m0 1 upon v square by c square. So it means that velocity of a particle has started to change, it becomes comparable to this one, then that time its mass started to increase continuously. So here if you are seeing this m0, so this m0 is you can say 0 for photon, because if m0 you will calculate, this is equal to m multiplied 1 by v square by c square, and as you know for the photon it has velocity equal to velocity of light. Third, you can also write down this in third property. So velocity of photon is equal to velocity of light. So if you will write in place of v here c square, this will be 1. 1 minus 1 will be 0, and its whole will be 0, then this m0 will become 0 here. So it means that photon has rest mass is equal to 0. So these are the three properties. Later I will tell you other properties also. Next property of photon is, if you will see the mass of the photon, inertial mass actually we are saying, so that mass is given by the Einstein's concept, E is equal to m square. So here if m is equal to E by c square. So this mass that is calculated is called inertial mass of the photon. Now next one, if you will see the traveling of photon, so photon always travels in straight line. Clear? Next concept. Next one, irrespective of radiation of intensity of radiation, all the photons of a particular frequency or wavelength have same energy. So it means that if you have suppose any of the photon, and whatever the source you have, whatever the intensity you have, means if intensity is continuously changing for a single source, suppose we have taken white light source and we are increasing its intensity, so that intensity will not alter, will not change any kind of frequency of that radiation. Means you can say from here, frequency is characteristic of source. It means that it is not changing by changing intensity, it is not changing by changing media. So in all media, frequencies of the radiations are always constant, and it is also not depending on the intensity of radiation. Clear, I think. Next one here, the energy of any photon is depending on frequency of radiation. I don't need to explain this one, because in starting I have told you E is equal to h nu. So from here you can understand this concept easily. Next property we have, wavelength of photon changes in different media, because velocity of photon is different in different media. So this is well known concept. In electromagnetic wave we have discussed this one. Whenever our media will change, then that time velocity of light will change in that media, and as you know, lambda is equal to c by nu. So if nu is constant, then this lambda is proportional to c. So as this velocity is changing by changing media, so it means that wavelength will change according to media. The simple thing is that wavelength is not constant as the frequency. It will always change whenever medium will be changed due to change in velocity. Next one here, photons are not deflected by electric and magnetic fields. This shows that photons are electrically neutral. So if you will just see the light that is traveling through electric or magnetic field, that is not getting deflected. So it means that if it is not feeling any kind of deflection, means it that is not charged, because if it will be charged, either it will be repelled or attracted by the electric and magnetic field, but this kind of phenomena we are not observing. It means that photons are electrically neutral particle. Next concept is in a photon particle collision such as photoelectric collision, the energy and momentum are conserved. So this concept I think you know from class 11th when we were discussing law of conservation of physical quantities. There we have discussed angular momentum concept, linear momentum concept, energy concept, charge concept. So these are all universally conserved quantity. So in collision, as I have told you, collision between photon and electron, that will be. So as in case of perfectly elastic collision, the angular momentum and energy is always conserved. That we have discussed already in class 11. So no need to discuss it again. Next one here, if you will see number of photons, so that may or may not be conserved in collision. So because after collision maybe number of electrons will be decreased. So it means that can be changed, that is not conserved quantity, but linear momentum of photon and energy of photon, that will be always conserved. Means before collision and after collision, if you will calculate these two physical quantities, that will be always same. Next one here, photon may show diffraction under given conditions. So if you have any of the molecule atoms that has molecular separation or the simple separation of the order of wavelength of photon, then that time it can show diffraction also. So diffraction conditions we have discussed up to now, and if that is satisfying, then photons can also show diffraction of here. Now let's discuss the confusion that I was talking here. As we had two nature of light now, that is photonic nature or quantum nature, and the first one was wave nature. And as the ray nature is contained in wave nature, so you can just replace it already. So here you can say and you can observe some of the phenomena of light are is satisfying by wave nature, like interference, diffraction, polarization, Doppler effect, and some of the phenomena are successfully explaining by the help of quantum concept on a particle concept. and whenever we are taking light as the particle. So in that case we can explain photoelectric emission, fine spectrum, we can explain Compton effect and so on. So it means that if you will see the wave phenomena like interference, diffraction, that cannot be explained by particle concept, and these particle concepts cannot be explained by wave concept. So simply if you have to understand all of the concept of light, then it means that you have to consider these two both natures of light. So we are accepting both nature of light, and that is known as dual nature of light. So our chapter was dual nature of radiation and matter. So up to now we have discussed only about the radiation, that we are calling for the different electromagnetic waves. So it means that every radiation will have two nature. One is particle nature, second is wave nature. Whatever the nature is satisfying the conditions to explain any phenomena, we will adopt that nature. So these two natures, you can say, are complementary natures for each other. They are just giving us complete information about the phenomena produced by the radiations. So clear, I think. So actually particle nature we are observing whenever we are studying light phenomena, whenever it will come to the ray structure, and wave nature we are observing whenever the particle is in motion. You know, wave is generated due to the motion of the particle or vibration of the particle and their through their locus. So whenever photons are in motion, that time they are constituting a wave with this one. So you can simply understand particle and wave natures are not opposite natures, they are actually the same nature. So here we have to adopt both of the theory for the light. So that is not dual theory of radiation or light. So students, I think up to now this is clear. So let's end our class here for today. In next class we will also discuss first photocell, then we will discuss dual nature of matter also. So let's discuss that in next class.